what you don't have. When you are talking about integrity, you are really talking about the real person, who that person is.
When you talk of integrity, you talk of honesty. To be honest. And to be honest means to be trustworthy, to be truthful. And politics is science and art of government.
Politics is about the people.
Yes.
And if you talk about it in a deeper sense, it has to do with how people take decisions on how to lead themselves.
It's a beautiful day from the capital city of Abuja, and it's nice having you on today's edition of Christians in Politics. Today, we shall continue from where we stopped last time on the topic preparation for 2019 general elections, and we shall be focusing on the accreditation of election observers. But before then, there's a hot topic we have to briefly look into, which is on the crisis rocking the judicial arm of government. I am Contd Akitsunde, and with me to discuss today in the studio are Abuja Onoya, the Director, Civic and Political Affairs, Church of Nigeria, Anglican Community. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And I also have Reverend Canon Benjamin Agbejumeye, a political enthusiast. Daddy, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Good
All
evening.
right. I also have from Lagos, online, that I have Barrister Timothy Akinyeye, a Lagos-based lawyer, who shall also be talking with us on this topic. Let's kickstart with the issue of the suspension of the CJN and the appointment of a new one, with contrasting order from the Court of Appeal and the CCT, who is looking into this matter. And if Barrister can hear me, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us live on ACNN. We are looking at the issue rocking the arm in which you belong to as a lawyer, the arm of government, that's the judicial arm of government. With what is going on, what is your take, sir? Let's look at the trial from onset, how fast it was, and then if it was actually necessary from the look of the law. What's your take, sir?
Well, if we are going to have to look at the issue involved from two perspectives.
Yes, sir, you can go on, sir.
Are you with me?
Yes, we are with you, sir.
So I say we have to look at it at 2 or 3 perspectives.
Okay, sir.
One, constitutionally.
All right.
Whether the president has the power to remove the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Okay.
You will recall before 2015, in 2014 or even, the president of the Court of Appeal was suspended, not by the Senate, not by resolution of the Senate, it was by the president then. There was no eyebrow about it, and remained in suspension till he retired. Nigerians never cry any wolf, though some of us protested.
Okay.
Even the NBA now, that is having a very strong voice, they didn't do anything then. So
that was Justice Ayo Salami?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, it was suspended. They said the election in Osun and Ekiti, that he used the same panel of judges to do it. So it means maybe they have settled him. That's why he did that. No any serious allegation was, no cogent allegation was brought. It was all speculation. Yet he was suspended for about 18 months until retired in suspension. So that was a precedent, so to say. The issue of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, I'm not an insider, but from the facts we read, the man breached the Constitution he has to make a declaration of his assets as a Supreme Court justice. And when he became Chief Justice, he still has to make it again as a Chief Justice. He did not do it. And from the report, he said he forgot. He never denied that he did it. He said he forgot. That is an admission of guilt. It's Chief Justice of Nigeria. If he says he forgets constitutional duty, then who else can you blame? If everybody, the ignorance of the law is no excuse, you know that. So if I, as an ordinary person, will be penalized for an offense, I think any judge, even not the Chief Justice, if he commits the same offense, his punishment should be double. That is legal aspect of morality. And when he was challenged, the man said, "I'm sorry, I forgot." That's an admission. So the honorable thing I think he ought to have done, in my own view, is to resign at that moment to save his face. Because all this noise now will have not happened. But because we Nigerians, we like to cling to power, whether legally or illegally. And then when we are at fault, we bring sentiments of tribe, ethnic, all sort of nonsense, which I don't buy. They have not published, but we heard that there are so many properties he has, which he can explain the sources. That's the additional one. Okay, leave that apart. Let's live on the non-declaration. And the accounts that are not declared, we are told that it runs to about $3 million, which is over 1 billion naira. How does he get this money? Have to investigate. If they said my colleagues, the ACNN caucus, so to put, not all of them anyway, after an ACNN is one prosecuting.
Yes.
They said they have to follow due process.
Yes.
To my mind, the offense is not a misconduct. It's a constitutional breach, which is fundamental. So we can say it's a criminal offense. In misconduct, you report a judge to the NJC. In misconduct, that's the due process. Then the NJC will sit over it. But remember that the Chief Justice of Nigeria is the chairman of the AJC.
Yes, sir.
Of the NJC. So if you report the chairman to the body, who is going to preside? Is the constitutional chairman of the body. They say, please, excuse us. When the man is still in power, who is the Supreme Court Justice or Court of Appeal or any judge for that matter, who will say, Mr. Chairman, we find you guilty? In Nigerian context, is it very easy? It means then you are giving him immunity, which the law does not give him. He has no immunity. It's only the president and the governors that have immunity from prosecution while in office. But so he hasn't got that immunity.
But what is actually the constitutional process? Is it actually now the constitution that we should fault, or is the president's right in taking the decision he has taken?
The president did not take the decision unilaterally. He said he has an order from the CCT, the Code of Conduct Bureau, Tribunal.
But is it constitutional, sir?
The law is, when you have a court order, it is not you to say it's not constitutional. You obey the last order of the court until set aside by a higher court. If a high court gives an order to you, you cannot say it's not constitutional. You go to Court of Appeal to set it aside as unconstitutional. Until you have done that, the order is binding because it's order of the Superior Court. And the CCT is equivalent to any high court or federal high court.
Okay, let me.
With me?
Yes, I'm with you, sir. Let me come to the people in the studio, even though they are not lawyers. They are. Yes. So let's hear their own perspective before I take up one more question before I let you go, sir. Very good, sir. Do you hear what the barrister has just said? What's your own take, sir?
Well, with all due respect to my learned barrister at the other end, yeah. I think from when I listen, he's speaking more like a layman than a lawyer.
Okay.
Because we are talking about breach of the Constitution here. We are talking about a separation of power here. We are talking about President suspending the CJN, even in the case he referred to at the beginning. You see, you cannot put that side by side with the issue of the CJN. We are talking about the overall head of the judiciary arm of government. We need to take note of that. Then when he talks about the issue of that the CJN is the chairman of the NJC.
Yes.
Whenever a matter borders on the chairman of an organization, of a committee or whatever, it is the duty of the committee members to tell the person, you step aside because you cannot preside over this thing. There's an allegation against you. Step aside, let us handle it. It's done everywhere, even in the church. There are some issues. For instance, if the welfare of the vicar of a church is to be debated by the PCC, as a vicar, I voluntarily, I'm the one who will constitute what's it called? A call for the meeting. But when I get to that very point when my matter is to be discussed, I will step aside. And I'll tell the next person to me to preside. So the question of who will preside does not even arise here. The next person will be allowed to preside. Then when you talk about the issue of authorities, as a layman, I know that whenever you go to a lower court and there's a judgment, you appeal. That means you go to a higher court.
Yeah.
And now he is trying to, if I heard him very well, putting the Code of Conduct Tribunal side by side with other high court. But
no, he's saying that he said they have to go to a higher court.
No, that is not what I accept if I didn't hear him very well. He said they are the same court, type of court. But even it is the Court of Appeal that gave an order staying proceeding in the CCT until matters are determined, which means this matter was brought before the Court of Appeal. Assuming even the CJN or Northern appeared before the Code of Conduct Tribunal and he was even found guilty, has he no right to go to Court of Appeal? And if Court of Appeal rules otherwise, will he not stand? That automatically shows to you that a tribunal, Code of Conduct Tribunal, in my layman's view, cannot be put side by side with the Court of Appeal. Or no lawyer can convince me that the Court of Appeal does not have a higher authority than Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Yeah, but I think the CCT has obeyed the Court of Appeal
when the learned barrister was speaking, he's speaking as if Honore had been convicted. This matter was before the Code of Conduct Tribunal, and the two parties were represented. Even though Honore was not in court, his lawyers were there in court.
Okay.
And the Code of Conduct Tribunal adjoined. He is not looking at the angle where people are saying even what they call the order now that finally was given to Mr. President was backdated. Many people have been shouting over that. It was alleged openly by the spokesperson for Conference of Political Parties. He said this several times that this is the ground plan on ground. Then when you talk about that, talking about obeying, Mr. President obeying court order, there are series of court orders that have been given for the past few years that were just completely disregarded and nothing has happened.
Okay,
what makes this one so special? Just give me 1 minute to learn.
Yes.
What makes this one so special? Then when you look at the process, the way they went about this thing horridly, to and reach this very conclusion. You cannot but know that there's something underground. Then lastly, if I may say this, maybe I have opportunity to say other things about this thing. See, the timing of this was Onoge sworn in yesterday. Was he sworn in last month? Why has the government not looked at this all this while? And they waited till the eve of election to give Nigeria this kind of trauma that we are going through. I think it's not fair.
Okay, let me take on Canon before I go back to Barrister Kiei. Will you say that someone can be a judge in his own case?
You cannot be a judge in your own case. And at the same time, looking at the incident of Chief Justice Onoge, the same way you cannot be a judge in your own case, it's like the president now. The president is a contestant in the forthcoming general election. You cannot be a contestant and also be an umpire. We have three arms of government. The Chief Justice of Nigeria is not an employee of the president that you can hire and fire like a minister. There are proceedings. It's just like when the president...
But the government has said he hasn't fired. He was just suspended.
Go. You are an educated person. Define what it means to suspend. What is the meaning of suspension? Whether you say temporary removal. Removal is removal. Whether temporary or permanent. There are procedures, because no matter how the president will justify his action, it is a violation of our constitution. And it is an impeachable offense, because you cannot, two wrongs cannot make a right. You cannot use a wrong thing to correct something that is wrong.
But some people, just like the barrister said, that this thing happened before.
The barrister did not speak as a learned...
That this thing happened before in 2014.
The barrister, before Salami was suspended, the National Judicial Council sat on his case.
No, it was after he was suspended.
No.
Go, if you check, it was after he was suspended before they sat on his case.
They sat on his case. He even made mention of it, that the purpose why they suspended him was an inquiry.
Why the president suspended him?
Before
he didn't go to the
recommendation.
It didn't go to the National Assembly, because the Constitution is that...
They didn't go to National Assembly.
Yeah, because the Constitution is that if NJC recommends a suspension, it goes to the Senate.
It was a petition written to the NJC on Salami.
Yes, but it's us to go to the National Assembly. The recommendation is to go
what we are saying
to the National Assembly.
The law did not say so.
What we are saying here.
We are not lawyers. We have been listening to all the lawyers.
What we are saying here. What we are saying here. If there is any petition, it's supposed to go first to the National Judicial Council.
Yes.
Who will take a point, because it is when the National Judicial Council are sat on the case, then there will be a recommendation to, if maybe like this case of Onoge now, and the National Judicial Council took a decision by suspending
or by recommending to the president to suspend.
Recommending to the president to suspend. It is not the duty of the president to write to the Senate. Who will
But that is actually on if he commits an offense based on his work as a judge.
Wait.
Not a constitutional.
Wait.
Not a constitutional
crime. My brother, wait.
What do you mean by constitutional crime?
Wait. No, from what the barrister says, he's looking from two ways.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria is not enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah, that's what we are saying.
That is good.
The offense he committed now is a constitutional offense. It's not an offense he committed while exercising his duty.
It's part of the exercise of his duty. Because he did not get to that position. He did not get to that position without exercising his duty.
Let me take Barrister. Barrister, can you hear you, please?
Gentlemen.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if you have a reaction to what the people in the studio have talked about, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
I've been trying to come in, but, you know, because I'm online, you don't get me.
Yes, we can get your reaction
now. The two gentlemen, one thing I want them to know, and everybody to know, is that, strictly speaking, this is a political issue. We are only talking law, whether you like it or not. In the case of Salami, there was a dispute between Salami as president of Court of Appeal and the Chief Justice of Nigeria. You remember? You remember that?
Yes.
Two of them were classmates. But because that one happened to be Chief Justice of Nigeria, in Sokoto case, Salami as president of Court of Appeal has exercised a constitutional right to set up a tribunal. And the Chief Justice of Nigeria said, no, disband that tribunal. They won't be favorable to that man. He said, I'm sorry. I can't direct the judges. They are judges of my court. I'm just fortunate to be their president. I'm not to teach them law. I cannot disband it. And if you remember the case, they brought the case to Supreme Court without any jurisdiction. Supreme Court decided the case, set aside all others, and gave the judgment to the fellow they want to give to, and decided it shall not be cited as a precedent. Go and read your law reports. You see, that was Chief Justice of Nigeria then to President of Court of Appeal. Was that not political? How many people raised eyebrow? Only a few lawyers. This country, when something favors us, we blow it. When it doesn't favor us, we go around. This is a political issue. There's no question you can do about law, about it. It's purely political. And it's not the first time we are doing it. Now you go to the Senate. Who is going to determine the Senate? The Senate is 2/3. Can you have 2/3 in the Senate as it is now? The gentleman said there are many others of court Buhari has refused to implement. What did the courts do? When you give order, the Attorney General is there. Have you convicted the Attorney General? You won't bring the President. The Attorney General is the law officer of the state. How many of them have summoned the courage to summon the Attorney General? I gave this order, the government did not obey. Lock him up. And let's see whether heaven will fall. When you gave your order, it's not obeyed, and you kept quiet over it. Who is going to implement it for you? So when you said that Court of Appeal, if you listen to the proceedings of 22nd January, when that matter came up in the CCT, it was then they are just bringing the order. The judge said he has not been served with the Court of Appeal order. It was published in newspapers. The law has not come to that anything you read in newspaper is binding. There's procedure for service. If it's a service through the paper, it's a different thing, but not no substance service order. So if you give an order, you publish to the whole world, and that order is not served, it's not binding on the man against whom the order is given until he has been duly served. So the man said he has not been served, and that's why he gave his order. So if he has not been served, his order is valid. So whether you like it or not, everything, see the way everybody took it. Ethnic are fighting, this one are fighting, everybody are fighting, we are boycotting courts, all these things. If we are in the days of Ganifa Wehimi, that is the man of blessed men I respect so much in this country. He will go to courts and challenge it. He's not fighting on pages of newspapers. You see our LCNs, when they leave the court, they come address press. Even some have the wig and gown on, addressing pressmen or proceedings going on in court. It is not normal in civilized countries. It's so judice. All these cases have been tried, they have been convicted, they have everything. So we are all guilty of it.
So, Barrister, will you support the position of the Senate going to the Supreme Court on this matter?
Position of the Senate as what?
Going to the Supreme Court over this matter to seek interpretation on what the president has done.
Well, if they are in doubt, they can go to Supreme Court for interpretation.
Okay, so you feel that can sort it, and who are going to be the judge at the Supreme Court?
The acting chief judge, the acting chief judge of Nigeria have been sworn in. Whether you say it's until the court says it's illegal. as far as that procedure is concerned, is still the head of the judiciary now.
Okay, let me.
You see the confusion.
Can I ask my brother a question?
Is set aside.
Yes.
It's still a suspension.
Okay,
can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
He said something just now that even if the president decides to go to the Senate, there is no possibility of having a two-thirds majority to remove That is good. Then does that mean that the president should resort to self-help?
Okay, if you don't have to, for instance, if the CJN, having admitted that he committed this constitutional breach, and the Senate is not functioning, they are not available to do that. For instance, they are supposed to resume today. This is a sufficient crisis that they have to recall themselves, pass a resolution, nullify the president's suspension, and assume full power that it's your duty to do this, and then discuss the issue. What stopped them?
Now, can I say, my learned barrister, you know, you talk about the number of court orders that have been given by courts before now, and that the courts, what did they do? The judges, what did they do? As a lawyer, you know that the judiciary have no power to implement anything. Is the executive...
Did they issue warrant of arrest against the Attorney General?
Now, who controls the police? Who controls the DSS?
Why not do it and let us see that they didn't obey it?
But the commander-in-chief have said it expressly that because of national interest, is not going to obey the order. In the case of Ezazaki, he says so. In the case of the former Dasuki, he says so. So who is going to command the police? The judiciary.
He's saying that under national security.
Now,
but the CDN is not in security risk.
You don't think as a barrister that what has happened now threatens the peace, the unity, the security of this nation more than even the case of those individuals? What makes Ezazaki's case a national security? What makes Dasuki's case an individual who is not holding any sensitive office anymore and is already in custody? What makes it a national threat?
Dasuki with Saki. Saki is a terrorist.
You cannot say
so. You cannot
convicted him. You have not tried him.
Let's say that
you have not tried him. You have not convicted him. How will you say that he's a terrorist?
If a court of law that has looked that if you say it's a terrorist, Isazaki was charged before that very court, and the court has granted him bail. So should that be obeyed?
Now, can we even look at the Constitution, sir? Barrister, before I let you go, do you think that the Constitution needs to be looked into holistically, sir?
Yes, we don't all the years they have been talking about constitution. Have they been able to amend anyone successfully? They just go there, make noise, make their millions, and go away. None of the Senate leaders or senators, they have never done any serious thing about the Constitution. How many amendments are only maybe administrative laws they amend? But the Constitution itself, how many amendments have they proposed? What is the result?
Now, what should be your own advice? What should be your own advice now on this issue to the CJN and to the president?
If I have any advice, it's to the CJN.
Okay.
I will. If it's my relation or my friends, I will advise, even before the thing leaks out, I will advise them to retire honorably without all this mess. Whether he's removed now or not removed, his integrity has asking question.
Let me quickly say,
if he has the CJN to resign,
yes.
let me refer him.
If he resigns honorably,
let me refer you. Let me refer you to the case of Saraki and the CCT.
Who?
Is a case of Saraki and CCT. We all can remember vividly when Saraki was accused of non-declaration of asset.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes.
He was arraigned before the CCT, and even the presidency pressured him to resign honorably when he has not been found guilty of the offense. What was the outcome? Had him been Saraki resigned.
You can't compare
this is the problem we have now, because it means that there is a problem. Even with some of our lawyers, we have problems.
Saraki is
because if you are saying he's the president of the Senate,
another
arm of government.
Another arm of government. The point now, even yesterday,
the position of the CGN is different from that of Saraki.
No. The CGN is the head of the judiciary.
Conspiracy with the opposition to derail the thing, to favor the opposition and this and that. The opposition is also defending him that the thing is wrong. So what
is in the code of conduct?
I think my dear barrister, I think from what I see from your angle, you are looking at this matter in two ways. Number one, politically, you are not really from the point of law. And number two, from your speaking, I really sympathize with your own position, because I see that it's like the way Mr. President has said that when Mr. President was to suspend this man, you could visibly see that he was talking like somebody that was being frustrated in his fight against corruption, and he feel, okay, let me go ahead and do whatever I have to do. If you watch what you have said so far from the beginning till now, there are many issues that are bordering on you, on your head, that why has the people not been able to do? Why have the judges not done this way? Why are they cried? If we go that way, we will miss the point. The truth is that the judiciary is the one that is being tried now, and I'm surprised that you as a lawyer, as a learned man, will be speaking this way, because it is your arm of government.
I think that is his own view, and everybody is entitled to his own view. But
the view is his own view. The view is defective. His own view is very, very defective.
You know why we not?
No, you can't say his own view is defective.
The president has grossly violated. Yeah. The president has grossly violated the constitution. Will you say that because the president has grossly violated the constitution, the military should come in and suspend the president?
Now, okay, having said that, let me ask. The Senate.
If the president has violated the constitution,
yeah,
the remedy is there. The Senate should take it up.
That is the process. Did the president follow the process in removing the Chief Justice?
Now,
no, the process is what matters.
The Senate, and so many people have been making several allegations that money is not appropriated are being spent by the executive. Yeah. A due process are not being followed in so many things. Yeah. And people have been talking and talking. Have we been able to tell Mr. President, just leave now and go? See, there should be procedure.
There is a procedure.
My brother, did you hear the news yesterday that Lagos House of Assembly have already moved a motion to impeach the governor?
Yes. That is more political. What made the man not to contest? This is a question you need to ask before you even talk of impeaching the governor. What made even the party in Lagos to block him from contesting?
No, did they block him, or he didn't win the primaries?
No.
Let the Senate do this job. And if Senate cannot do the job, somebody else has to do it.
No, now Senate, see, do you know what happened yesterday?
If there's a vacuum.
See, do you know what happened yesterday?
Let's just...
The senators had about the plot, alleged plot, let me not say alleged plot, on ground that when they come, they mention the names, that these are the people that will not be allowed to enter the Senate. It will be an opportunity to implement the former threat before. That is why I believe they called it off, and they are taking another very valid step to go to court, to say the Supreme Court should interpret what has happened. Let's see the position. I think to that extent, the Senate has been very, very fair in this very matter. They are trying to do what they should do at this very junction.
Let's go to Supreme Court for interpretation.
Yes.
They are creating more problems.
Okay.
Because the Supreme Court is going to be divided. Who is going to nominate?
Who created this division?
That is what we are saying.
The action of the president has created more division, not only even in the judiciary.
The judiciary has been divided into pieces already now. And that will be to the benefit of the executive arm
so you are
of
creating
government.
more problem by doing that.
What we are saying, and the president has succeeded in creating more problem in the judiciary than solving the problem of
There's
Onoge.
what we call doctrine of usurper. Usurpers take position when there's a vacuum.
Okay.
So when you create a vacuum, usurpers come and take over.
Okay, let's hear this caller from. Hello.
Question. I know it's from Yoruba land.
Okay.
Why Yoruba people, with all their education, with all their intelligence, why are they supporting evil? I'm surprising. You know, when we're talking about politics, it's not about issue of tribe. Why are we supporting evil? I want to know, sir. Mr. Korede, because I want to know, because I can't understand. We are very intelligent in school, in everything we are. But why are we supporting evil? Please, I want to know.
Which evil?
Which evil, sir?
The country of learners to follow law.
Okay.
Here in Africa, they follow law. Either the president or the speaker, anyway, who you are, you follow law. Why can we kind of do the truth and say the truth, we Yoruba people? I'm kind of that answer. Tell me, sir, why we don't support the reality? Why?
Okay, I think he's taking it from a tribal
No, I would
angle.
love Tony to hit the particular evil. What is the evil now? Who is supporting evil? So we know how.
So
to
that we
respond.
know, because
Which
the observation.
Is the evil here? Is it the suspension?
I think he has gone.
Or which one is the evil? Is it the non-declaration? Now there's an issue raised by the barrister.
Yes.
Which I'm hearing for the first time.
Okay.
The barrister was saying that Honore did not make any declaration. If you heard him when he was speaking.
Okay.
But what we have been hearing was that he made declaration
as an acting CJ.
Yeah, but there are some of these things that were not included.
Yes.
When he said, okay, I forgot. Not that he didn't make any declaration. I'm just hearing that. I want the position we have been hearing is that he has made declaration in the time, but there are some of these items or some of these accounts
that were missing.
It's different from saying he didn't make any declaration.
Let
me just release the barrister as a so that
before you release him from the last caller.
Yeah.
Because there is something I deduced from the point of the last caller when he talks about following the law, because the end result of everything is as good as the process.
Of course.
Yeah. If the process
is faulty,
no matter how good the result may be, the process nullifies the result. And that is what the caller is saying. Because this learned brother who is talking about the removal of Onoge by fiat by the president without following the law, and as a Yoruba man, you are supporting him, even with the pastor who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, who cannot speak to condemn what his principal is doing, is very unfortunate.
Okay, Barrister K, let me just let you go. But before you go, do you have any other take you want to drop?
Well, you people, I know that there are clergymen there, because I think I heard of a canon.
Yeah.
You need a lot of prayers for the country.
We agree.
So we need more prayers. It is not, legalism cannot save this situation we are now. We don't know yet, but we are moving there. We need prayer to touch the heart of all those who profess to be ruling us. This is not a matter of legality, because we are already out of normal constitutional country.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, there's a crisis on hand that many people have not even appreciated. This election, because all these things is going on because the election petition that will come up. And if care is not taken, we shall get to the zero end. So we need a lot of prayers for everybody, because it's a situation that when it consumes, all this grammar we are blowing cannot survive us. It's only God that we have to pay attention to now. We need to be nearer God than before, whether laity, clergy, or all Nigerians. Because it's a power tussle, and a vacuum is being created gradually every day, day out. The Senate is not in the position to perform. You know, when Umaru died, they call it law of necessity.
Yes.
They put Jonathan there. So there was Senate then, there was no vacuum. If we try this situation, it may not be as easy as that. We shall be going to court and coming back. No, as the Senate got the power to put the president there, we have to go for election. You can't put the president there. You can't, all sorts of things. But because there was no vacuum then, but now there's a vacuum. Vacuum in legislature, vacuum in judiciary, and the executive is seizing the opportunity of the vacuum to come as a usurper. It's as simple as that. And go and study the law, the doctrine of usurpers. You will know that we are getting to the zero states.
Thank you.
May God deliver us.
Amen. Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Those who are talking, they thought that I don't know the law. Thank God. I may not be an excellent, but I've paid my dues at in the courts.
No, we respect you as a learned barrister. I think
barrister
the issue at hand. Yeah. That is, the issue at hand is what is generating tension, and as election observer, the political environment before any major election matters a lot. I think the polity is unnecessarily being overheated by the executive.
It's overheated.
It's overheated.
By the politicians, by even the laity, the non-politicians.
It's overheated.
The lawyers, we are contributing also.
Thank you very much, sir.
Our own president is facing a criminal charge.
No, these are creation of the executive. These are creation of the executive
to think he will not support the judges.
No, these are all creation of the executive to create a vacuum. That there will be usurpers in that vacuum created. Because if the executive did not create this kind of confusion in the land, there will be no vacuum that they will usurp.
What the judiciary don't seem to understand, the lawyers, the judges, and don't understand is like majority of Nigeria is seeing it that the executive is deliberately trying to tamper with this institution and generating this unnecessary look at the National Assembly you are talking about, and how they have been battered over the years. I mean, it's enough to disorganize even the people in the National Assembly.
All right, let's call it a day on the CGI, because it's still a continuous it's still a continuous crisis, and we just have to go on this break, sir.
Because when we are talking about the executive usurping vacuum created, it's very, very unfortunate. Because executive arm of government that we go to the house of judges at night
and
raid them, put their houses down, and the executive that we carry armored the personnel carrier and go and lay siege on the house of senators and senate president and so on and so forth, and you expect that Nigeria should keep quiet, is very, very unfortunate.
Well, let's go on a quick break, and we shall be back even as we move to the other matter of election observers as the 2019 election draw nearer. Join me back after the break.
Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN, is your most reliable gospel TV station that brings to you quality TV programming which build your spiritual life and enhance your walk with God through the undiluted Word of God. Join us on our social media platforms anytime you miss your favorite program. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with the address www.youtube.com/ACNNTV and click that video that matters to you.
Protect your vote is a euphemistic way of saying do everything to make sure you can share blood, you can kill, to ensure that the person you voted for is the one that will manage you. as winner at the end of the day.
There is never a dull moment on our Facebook page, as we are dedicated to keep you informed with the up-to-date news about the church and other information. Just log on to www.facebook.com/ACNNTV, for you can now watch some of our programs live on your mobile device. Follow us on Twitter with the handle at ACNNTV.com, and you'll be glad you did. So now, there is no longer regret each time you miss any episode of your favorite programs, as you can now watch them on the go, anytime, anywhere. ACNN. We are indeed reaching the world with the undiluted Word of God.
Thank you for staying tuned, and we are on Christians in politics. Let's continue with our discussion, and I want Venerable J. Onoya to let's talk about the accreditation process for the 2019 elections, looking at the process that took place last week at the ACNN. Can you give us a breakdown of the process for election observers?
Well, we are glad that finally the accreditation has been done. It has been long awaited. Since middle of last year, we have been expecting that INEC will advertise for observers to apply, and it came up very, very late. And these are some of the things that is unnecessarily bringing tension. You can imagine a situation whereby INEC waited till Christmas Day before they finally advertised for people to apply. And they advertised on Christmas Day, and for the first time they only gave 14 days window. And you need to go to Inland Revenue, you need to go to court to swear affidavit, and so many things to be done to meet up with the documents that you need to submit. Has
that been the normal process before now? The
normal process is that the INEC will always advertise, then observers will apply. Once you collect the form, then you now go and get all the necessary requirements put in place, like your clearance by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. You bring your certificate of incorporation of your organization with Corporate Affairs Commission. Then, of course, you go to the court to swear affidavit of neutrality, to be that you are not going to be partisan as an election observer. All those are part of the normal rules for accreditation. But the problem with this year's own was that we are preparing for this kind of general election. The accreditation, the advertisement was delayed so much, and observers were worried going there to what is delaying the whole process. And the PDP people started already speaking on air that observers will not be allowed to observe before eventually the advert was done on Christmas Day, which was supposed to be a holiday, and many people have traveled. After that, observers were running up and down looking for where to, all offices were closed. So because of that, many observer groups could not meet up with the 14 days deadline. Another new dimension that came up was that for the first time, after we have met all the other criteria set, we're asked to go and bring all the reports we have written over the years. And many observers raised alarm over that. Why do you want all the reports that the organizations have been writing since they started? Or is it to know whether they have been very vocal or whether they have been taking a strong position? Why do you need all these documents? So, but eventually, all that has come and gone now, and 144 observer groups have been accredited by INEC, out of which 116 are domestic election observation group, including faith-based organizations like 116.
Okay, out of 144.
Out of 144.
Okay.
And that 116 includes all the civil society organization and the faith-based organization. Like ours, CONAC, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, is a faith-based observation group, and we have been accredited. We are number 26 out of the 144 that were accredited.
Wow.
Then we have 28 international observation group, and the process that we are in now is when you have been accredited, the next thing is to go and collect to go and submit the list of your observation team and their photographs, their contacts, and also put before INEC your deployment strategy, how many states you are going to cover. For us, CONAC, we are going to cover 16 states, including FCT. We have decided to kind of have a spread. We are covering Abia, Anambra, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Enugu, of course, FCT, Imo, Kaduna, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Plateau, and Rivers. And CONAC is deploying 871 observers to these very different states.
Okay.
Then that is where we are now. We are already preparing all these things to put before, but there are still some issues, some challenges that are facing us. And if I may say that, one of the biggest issues, like for instance, 3 days ago, we were made to, in my office, all the workers in my office were made to come and be filling form in my office, because we have already prepared our CD, the photograph, the name of observer, their phone numbers, their email, everything put there state by state, and we've prepared it in a format that is editable, so INEC can make use of it any day. We printed the list of the whole observation group in a paper form to back our CD up. But we are told, the junior officer there says, we should collect the form, go and photocopy the form, and use hand to write the name of each observer on that very form. We said in 2011, we said that was not necessary. In 2015, we said that was not necessary. And there was a way they went about it. You really take that very cover form, fill it, and put it on top of what you have already printed, because the names, the photograph, everything is there. But they insisted and said, no, you must go back and use your hand. And for 2 days, every person in my office writing name almost throughout the whole day, everyone worn out. And people are saying these are ways to discourage people. And I've also told them about the experience we had in 2015, where they have, now, INEC now produces ID card for observer group. In 2011, we produced our ID card. You accredit us, we go and produce ID card for us, so you can deploy as many observers as possible. But in 2015, INEC said no, they are now the one to produce ID card. That means the number you can deploy will be limited depending on the budget of INEC made for production of ID cards. In the case of Anambra, the last governorship election, we prepared 1,500 observers, and INEC said they were only going to give us 400 ID cards. And if you don't have ID card, you cannot go out to observe. So we have to plead that law. Only 600 was given to us. Every other observer that we prepared were asked to step down. In this case, in the 2015 case, there was a major challenge, and we see that is the biggest challenge that we are going to face now.
Okay.
They are insisting now that once this ID card has been produced state by state, for instance, in Lagos, we are deploying 178 observers. And that covers the whole jurisdiction of Lagos, from Badagry down to Lekki, down to wherever, the whole Lagos state. And we have observers scattered all around. INEC is saying each observer must come and sign for his ID card. In INEC office. No, in INEC office at the state. Then you begin to wonder, for instance, Kogi, in 2015, that was what happened. This ID card will be ready at the eve, a day before the election. Then the observers, you say they must come to Lokoja to come and sign for their something. We were having almost 200 observers, and you want 200 people to come from different villages and nook and crannies of the state to come to INEC office in Lokoja to come and sign for ID card. Why did you now ask us to present a state contact persons? We have state contact person in each state who could have as well just go there
and pick
this thing and go and give to the observer. When the observers were coming, those who made the effort to say, okay, let's just go for it's a service to the nation, let's go. The military stopped them at military checkpoints and say, no movement. So they could not get there. And so all the ID card produced by INEC were wasted. So the same thing we are seeing now that is about to happen.
So was INEC, was the attention drawn to this?
We made recommendation on this when we were reporting in 2015. They are insisting on it now. The junior staff there, we are talking, they are not listening. What I made up my mind personally now is to maybe go to a higher authority in INEC to point their attention to what is the point? Making observer to go through the stress of training people for observation, then going through all this rigor of accreditation. Then when you have been accredited, INEC spend money on ID card that will not be used at the end of the day. Because INEC is not paying observers. You source for your own fund. And if you are not having a solid international organization that is funding you, where do you have money to pay observer on the election day? Now, while we are thinking of that, we are not first of all thinking of how to sponsor each observer to leave his village, to go to INEC, to go and sign for his ID card. We don't know why it should be so. We just pray that those are the hierarchy in INEC, we intervene in this. And the delay, I have been harping on this. It has always been on our recommendation to INEC since 2011 that why do we always want to do a fire brigade approach? Use fire brigade approach to every issue. Yeah. In 2011, ID cards were produced and sent to Gariki, their office in Gariki, and all the head of election observation group in Nigeria, about 400, we are busy looking for ID cards. Well, I know this way, this one belongs to me. That's how we're doing on the eve of election. How do you send your ID card to the person in Lagos, to the person in Port Harcourt, to the person in Sokoto, to the person in Maduguri? And now that is what is going to happen. We are now at the stage of submitting photograph. When are they going to contract this business to the company that will produce this ID card? When are they going to finish and deliver it? So we are seeing a situation whereby this ID card will be produced, but observers will not be able to get them to use for observation. Once you don't have your ID card, the policemen will not allow you to do your work.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much. We don't have time again. Let me just take your last comment onto this. Just look at the general election as a whole, with what Venerable has relayed out. Do you see that INEC is well prepared enough for this general election? Just in a few words.
Like what I would say, to me, I have passed a vote of no confidence on INEC. Seriously. Because what I've seen so far is like, even this, because they say he who plays the piper dictates the tune. I have always faulted the appointment of the INEC commissioners and the INEC chairman. Because in a situation whereby an individual will appoint a chairman of a commission that will be the referee, just like two teams want to play football, and one team will be the one to elect the referee. You don't expect that the referee will be just and fair to the other party. And that is why you can see that all that INEC is doing, because like what you have said, the frustration you have expressed just now is that people will get the ID card and they will not be able to use the ID card on and when you don't have observers who will observe the election and tell the world what they have seen, it means they will do whatever they like.
Just quickly chip in
and go scot-free.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, let's not pass total vote of no confidence on INEC. I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, because I have been observing election since 2011 till now actively, and I can say there have been a lot of frantic effort being made by INEC to make things improve, to make election credible. We quite agree that there is a lot of pressure out there, and some people can be influenced. We are not saying that they are perfect, but I think the present man has given the country a lot of assurances. Let's hold him to his word and give him the benefit of the doubt.
My very, it's not even a matter of giving assurances. If not for the fact that both international community and many political parties insisted that Amina Zakari must not be a part of the coalition in the general election.
Which they have
if not for the insistence and the pressure. Yeah. The chairman said he's not going back before.
But yeah, I think he has done that. Maybe that's just what the variable is saying, that there's an improvement.
These are the things playing out.
That's why I'm saying let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
We know they are under, they can be, we are not too sure, but they may be or can be under serious pressure. But let's not just pass a total vote of no confidence. Let's get to the bridge and let's see what is going to happen. But I want to
in election, if you wait to get to the bridge before you know what to do, it will be too late.
Maybe variable we need to do a tackle for him to change his vote of no confidence.
I think he's a loyal man, so I know that if we have some confidence after listening to him.
I pray.
Yeah, the barrister says you pray more.
I'm praying.
So, thank you, Canon Agwejume, for coming on today's episode. And I want to also thank Variable for... Well, I think we'll continue to talk more about the preparation of INEC as the election draw closer. And we also hope we can have all the men on field on the day of election to give us feedbacks on what is happening on field. Thank you so much for your time on this program this week. In as much as we are praying for the forthcoming elections, those of us that are planning to cause violence and rigging during the elections should please abate that plan should be for peaceful election. Collection of PVC is still on for the next 1 week, and that will end on the 8th of February 2019. So if you haven't collected yours, please do avail yourself to get your own. And if you have any issues at the point of collection, please raise an alarm and put your mind in the procedures for voting in the forthcoming election. Please have a wonderful week, and thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and viewers and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN.